My hand accidentally hit her butt. The alien woman smiled. I like that. Do it again, human, she said. The human ship Odyssey Dawn moved slowly through the silver mist of the Kepler Verge. It was not a warship. It was not a trade ship either. It was a first contact vessel built for one purpose only, to meet the unknown and survive the meeting. Commander Elias Grant stood on the observation deck, his hands behind his back. He had trained his whole life for this moment. Humans had met many alien species before, but this one was different. The scanners showed a civilization older than Earth's written history. The alien species called themselves the Velari. They were tall, calm beings with smooth skin that changed color with emotion. Their society was built on harmony, balance, and physical expression that humans did not fully understand. That was why Elias was nervous, not afraid, nervous. Humans had learned that fear made mistakes. Curiosity, however, made progress. "Commander," said Dr. Myra Chen, the cultural expert, "the Velari delegation has arrived in the docking chamber." Elias nodded. "Let's make history." The docking chamber was wide and filled with soft blue light. The air hummed gently, adjusted to support both species. The Velari entered without sound, their movements graceful, almost floating. At the front stood Lyra Vash, the Velari envoy. She was observing the humans carefully. Her skin shimmered in gentle shades of gold and green. To her people, this showed interest and calm. To humans, it was beautiful but unfamiliar. Elias stepped forward and bowed slightly, a human gesture of respect. "Welcome aboard the Odyssey Dawn," he said clearly. "We come in peace and friendship." The translator device paused, then spoke in smooth tones. Lyra tilted her head. "Your voice pattern suggests sincerity. This is pleasing." The meeting began well. They exchanged symbols, history, and purpose. The Velari spoke of their long journey through stars, of learning through contact rather than conquest. Humans shared their own story, how they survived disasters, wars, and mistakes. The Velari listened closely. "You are loud," Lyra said politely. Elias smiled. "Yes, we tend to be." Her skin shifted to a soft blue, amusement. After the formal meeting, a guided tour was arranged. The Velari wanted to understand human ships, and humans wanted to avoid misunderstandings. That plan failed almost immediately. The corridor was narrow. Elias walked ahead, explaining power systems and navigation. Lyra followed closely, watching everything with intense focus. Then the ship vibrated. A minor engine shift, nothing dangerous, but Elias lost balance for half a second. His arm moved back suddenly to steady himself. It made contact with Lyra. The contact was brief, accidental, harmless. Elias froze. "Oh, I'm sorry," he said quickly, turning around. "That was not," he stopped. Lyra was smiling, not just smiling. Her skin had turned bright silver, glowing softly. "That was unexpected," she said. Elias felt his face grow warm. Humans did that when embarrassed. "I truly apologize," he said. "It was an accident." Lyra studied him. "Among my people, unplanned contact during instability is a sign of trust." Elias blinked. "It is." "Yes," she said. "You did not pull away in fear. You corrected your balance calmly. This indicates confidence." Elias relaxed slightly. "I'm glad it did not offend." "Offend?" Lyra repeated. Her skin shifted again. "No, it was pleasant." The translator paused for a moment, recalculating. Dr. Chen cleared her throat. "Commander, Velari culture assigns emotional meaning to physical balance and proximity. It is not the same as human meaning." Elias nodded quickly. "Understood." Lyra looked curious. "Did I misinterpret?" "No," Elias said honestly, "but meanings are different for us." Lyra smiled again. "Then we must learn together." Later that night, the human crew gathered in the briefing room. "That," said Engineer Patel, "was the smoothest almost disaster I've ever seen." Elias rubbed his temples. "We need updated cultural protocols." Dr. Chen nodded. "The Velari interpret intention more than action. Accidents matter less than reaction." Security Officer Ramos leaned back. "So humans being clumsy is good." "In their culture," Chen replied, "imperfection is seen as honesty." Elias smiled faintly. "That sounds like humanity." Meanwhile, Lyra stood in the Velari shuttle, speaking to her own council through a light projection. "The humans are unstable in motion but stable in intent," she said. "They adapt quickly and show emotional transparency." A council member asked, "Are they dangerous?" Lyra considered this. "Yes," she said, "but not in the way we feared." She paused. "They are dangerous because they care deeply. They protect what they value even at great cost." The council shimmered in thoughtful colors. And you, one asked, do you trust them? Lyra's skin turned gold again. I do. The next day, joint training exercises were scheduled. Simple tasks, navigation puzzles, environmental simulations, teamwork tests. Humans struggled with Velari logic. Velari struggled with human unpredictability. But something unexpected happened. They laughed, not the same laugh, not the same sound, but the same feeling. When a human made a mistake, the Velari did not judge. When a Velari hesitated, humans encouraged. Ilias watched from the observation deck as crew members worked side by side with beings once thought impossible to understand. He felt something deep inside him shift. Humanity had always believed strength came from control. But here, strength came from adaptation. Later, Ilias and Lyra stood near the viewing window, stars stretching endlessly beyond. Your people survived much, Lyra said. Why do you still explore? Ilias thought for a moment. Because stopping would mean fear won, he said. And humans do like fear deciding our future. Lyra smiled softly. That explains much. She turned to leave, then paused. Commander Ilias, she said, I look forward to further misunderstandings. Ilias laughed. So do I. As the stars moved past the ship, both species took their first real step toward something greater than alliance. They took a step toward shared understanding. And this was only the beginning. The next phase of contact began with a challenge. Not a threat, not a demand, a test. The Velari did not trust words alone. Their history had taught them that many species spoke peace but acted with control. They believed true nature appeared only under pressure, so they asked humans to join them in a shared trial. Commander Ilias Grant listened carefully as Lyra Vash explained. This is not a contest, she said. It is a mirror. Dr. Chen adjusted the translator. A mirror of what? Intent, Lyra replied. How you respond when balance is lost. Ilias nodded. We understand. He did not fully understand, but humans were used to that. The trial took place on Horizon Field, a neutral artificial world created by the Velari long ago. It was a wide open space with changing gravity, light, and sound. No weapons were allowed, no shields. Only minds, movement, and teamwork. A mixed group was selected, 5 humans, 5 Velari. Ilias was not part of the team, he would observe, Lyra was. The human team included Engineer Patel, Security Officer Ramos, Navigator Hale, Medical Officer Lewis, and a young technician named Jonah Reed. Jonah had never met an alien before this mission. His hands shook as he stepped onto the field. Just breathe, Patel said. They're people, just different. Jonah nodded. The Velari stood calmly, their skin soft green. The trial began without warning. The ground shifted. Gravity changed direction. Jonah stumbled and fell. Before any human could react, a Velari stepped forward to help, but Jonah pulled back instinctively. The Velari paused, its skin turned dark blue. Lyra watched closely. She stepped forward and raised one hand, a calming sign. Fear is natural, she said gently. Jonah swallowed. I'm sorry, I didn't mean. You protected yourself, Lyra said. That is honest. The Velari's skin slowly returned to green. The test continued. The environment grew more complex. Light patterns confused vision. Sound waves created false directions. The Velari moved smoothly, adjusting easily. Humans struggled, but then something changed. Navigator Hale noticed the sound waves repeated in a pattern. They're not random, he said. They're loops. Engineer Patel adjusted a device. If we move against the loop, the pressure drops. The humans adapted. The Velari noticed. Their movements slowed, not from weakness, but curiosity. Jonah helped Medical Officer Lewis regain balance using a rope. Security Officer Ramos shielded a Velari partner when a sudden gravity spike hit. The Velari partner froze in surprise. No one had ever shielded them before. The partner's skin turned bright gold. Lyra saw it. Her expression softened. From the observation deck, Ilias leaned forward. They're learning, Dr. Chen said quietly. Yes, Ilias replied, but more importantly, they're choosing each other. The final phase of the trial arrived, a simulated crisis. A central energy core began to destabilize. The system announced only one group may secure the core, time limited. The Velari hesitated. This was the moment many species failed. Competition often replaced cooperation. Jonah looked at Lyra. We can do this together. Lyra studied him. You would share success, she asked. Jonah nodded. If one side wins alone, both sides lose trust. The Velari around her shifted color, uncertain but listening. Lyra raised her voice. The humans suggest unity. A Velari elder replied through the field channel. What if they betray? Lyra answered calmly. Then we will have learned truth. She turned to Jonah. Lead, Jonah blinked. Me? Yes, she said. You speak with clarity. The team moved as one. Humans took risks. Velari provided stability. They reached the core together. The system stabilized. The field went silent. Then the sky above shifted to white light. The test ended. The Velari Council appeared in projection. Their colors were complex layers of thought and emotion. You have completed the mirror, the council said. Few have done so without conflict. Elias entered the field. He stood tall. What does this mean? He asked. It means, the council replied, that humans are not ruled by dominance or submission. You are ruled by choice. Elias smiled slightly. That sounds right. Lyra stepped forward. There is something else, she said. The council focused on her. In the beginning, I believed humans were unstable, she said. Now I believe they are balanced because they fall and rise by their own will. The council's light brightened. Then the next phase may begin. That night, humans celebrated quietly. No loud music, no strong drinks, just shared stories and calm voices. Jonah sat alone, staring at the stars. Lyra approached. You did well, she said. I was scared the whole time, Jonah admitted. Fear did not stop you, Lyra replied. That is courage, Jonah smiled. Humans mess up a lot. Yes, Lyra said, and yet you continue. She looked out at the stars. My people stopped falling long ago, she said. Perhaps we stopped rising too. Jonah did not understand fully, but he felt the weight of her words. Elsewhere, Elias met with the Velari Council privately. There is concern, one council member said. Your species grows fast. We do, Elias agreed, sometimes too fast. Growth leads to impact, the council said. Impact leads to damage. Elias did not deny it. But it also leads to repair, he said. Humans break things, then we learn how to fix them. The council considered this. You will be watched, they said. Elias nodded. That's fair. As the Odyssey Dawn prepared for the next phase of contact, one truth became clear to both species. Humanity was not perfect, not calm, not controlled. But they were adaptive, honest, and willing to stand together, even with those who were once strangers. And for the first time in Velari history, that was enough. Peace never lasted long in space. The Velari knew this. Humans learned it early. Only 3 cycles after the mirror trial, the warning came, not from human sensors, from the Velari themselves. An ancient signal flared across Horizon Field, sharp and urgent. The light patterns changed to deep red, danger. Commander Elias Grant was called to the main chamber immediately. Lyra Vash was already there, her skin a storm of shifting colors. This signal has not been used in many ages, she said. It means one thing. Elias folded his arms. Something bad is coming. Yes, Lyra replied, and it does not come to speak. The threat was called the Null Drift, not a species, not a fleet. A moving region of space where systems failed, stars dimmed, and matter slowly broke apart. The Velari had faced it once long ago. They survived by retreating. Humans listened carefully as the data streamed across the screens. It eats energy, Engineer Patel said. And bends gravity, Dr. Chen frowned. It's not alive, it's a reaction, a chain collapse. Security Officer Ramos looked at Elias. Can we outrun it? Elias shook his head. Eventually, maybe, but it won't stop. Lyra stepped forward. The drift is moving toward Velari space. Elias looked at her. How long? Not enough, she answered. The Velari Council gathered in full projection. Their light was muted. We must withdraw, one said. As before. Elias spoke before he could stop himself. With respect, he said, retreat only delays the problem. The council turned toward him. This is not your burden, one replied. Elias met their gaze. It becomes our burden the moment we stand here together. Silence followed. Lyra's skin turned bright gold. The humans faced similar threats, she said. Not the same, but close. The council hesitated. You destroy what you cannot understand, one accused. Elias nodded slowly. Sometimes, and we regret it. He stepped forward. But sometimes, he continued, we build solutions while everything is falling apart. The council studied him. Speak, they said. The human plan was simple and dangerous. Instead of running from the null drift, they would slow it, redirect its collapse using controlled energy release. Not a weapon, a pressure valve. Like stopping a landslide, Patel explained. You can't block it. You guide it. The Velari were uneasy. You would place yourselves in its path, the council said. Yes, Elias replied. We've done worse. Lyra looked at him. You would risk your people, Elias answered quietly. That's what leadership means to us. Preparations began immediately. Joint crews worked side by side. Veleri technology was elegant but cautious. Human technology was rough but flexible. Together, they modified the Odyssey Dawn and Veleri stabilizer ships into a mobile anchor system. Jonah Reed worked without rest, adjusting field calibrations. You should sleep, a Veleri technician said gently. Jonah shook his head. Not yet. Why push so hard? The Veleri asked. Jonah smiled tiredly. Because someone has to. The Veleri watched him with new understanding. The first contact with the null drift was silent. No explosion, no warning, just absence. Lights dimmed, systems flickered, the stars ahead faded like dying embers. Elias stood on the bridge. Hold formation, he ordered. The anchor system activated, energy flowed. Then something went wrong. Gravity spike, Patel shouted. One Veleri ship drifted off balance. Without thinking, Ramos launched a manual tether. Are you crazy? Someone yelled. Ramos grinned. Probably. The tether connected. The Veleri ship stabilized. The drift pushed harder. Inside the core chamber, Lyra felt it. Fear, not for herself, but for the humans. They should not endure this, she said. They choose to, Elias replied. The anchor system screamed under pressure. Jonah's console flashed red. It's tearing through the field, he shouted. Elias clenched his fists. Can we adjust? Yes, Jonah said, but someone has to reroute power manually. Everyone knew what that meant. Radiation, isolation, no guarantee of return. Jonah stood up. I'll go. Elias turned sharply. No, Jonah met his eyes. You taught us to choose. Lyra stepped forward. He is not alone. She placed her hand over Jonah's, steady calm. I will guide him, she said. The room fell silent. They entered the conduit together, human and Veleri. The drift pressed against the hull like a storm without sound. Jonah's hands shook. Lyra's skin glowed steady blue. Focus, she said. Breathe. Jonah followed her rhythm. They rerouted the power. The field stabilized. Outside, the drift slowed just enough. The anchor system held. The null drift changed course, drawn away from inhabited space, redirected toward a dead star. The danger passed, slowly, quietly. When the ships emerged from the shadow, cheers filled the human decks. The Veleri did not cheer. They glowed, bright. Alive with something new, the council reconvened. You did not retreat, they said. No, Elias replied. We adapted. You risked loss, they said. Yes, Elias agreed. We always do. Lyra stepped forward. The humans did not dominate the threat, she said. They endured it. The council's light shifted. Then we were wrong, they said, about many things. Later, Jonah sat in the medical bay, exhausted. Lyra stood nearby. You were afraid, she said. Still am, Jonah admitted. Lyra smiled softly. So are we, she said. Now we understand that fear does not mean weakness. She looked out at the stars. The stars turned dark, she continued, and you did not look away. As the fleets separated for repairs, one truth settled deeply into Veleri history. Humans were not perfect protectors. They were not calm guardians. They were something far more dangerous to the unknown. They were problem solvers who refused to stop, and the universe would have to adjust. The celebration of survival was brief. The Veleri and human crews worked tirelessly to repair the Odyssey Dawn and the Veleri stabilizer ships. Even with the null drift diverted, the consequences of the event were far-reaching. Systems were damaged, supply lines strained, and trust had been tested at every level. Commander Elias Grant moved through the repair decks, observing both humans and Veleri working together. The sight filled him with pride. Human adaptability and Veleri precision formed a perfect synergy, one that was rare and potentially dangerous if misunderstood. Doctor. Myra Chen approached him, concern in her eyes. Commander, there's a message from the council. Elias took the data pad. Read it aloud. Dr. Chen activated the projection. A Veleri council member's form appeared, skin a muted gold. The humans' actions against the null drift were impressive, the council said. But your methods reveal a trait we have not encountered. You act boldly, even recklessly, when others might hesitate. We must discuss this further. Elias frowned. Discuss? Yes, Dr. Chen said. They are questioning whether human courage borders on danger to the universe itself. Later, in the main chamber, the Veleri Council met with the human delegation. Lyra stood beside Elias. You have proven your worth, said one council member. But your willingness to risk lives without precedent creates unease. How can we trust that your species will always act wisely? Elias took a deep breath. We are not perfect. Humans often fail. We sometimes act without full knowledge, but we learn and we adapt. That is how we survive. Another council member interjected. Learning through trial is not always acceptable. Some risks threaten others' survival. Dr. Chen translated silently. Elias looked at Lyra. You understand why they are cautious? Lyra's skin flickered silver. Yes. But they also need to understand us. Elias turned back to the council. Then let us find a solution. Test our methods, yes, but allow us to demonstrate that our choices can be guided by both reason and courage. The council considered this. After a long silence, they nodded. Very well, you will be observed in the next trial, one that tests judgment without physical danger. The next trial was a simulation of galactic diplomacy. The humans and Velari would act as mediators for a dispute between two distant species, the Zorath and the Kellian. Both species had a long history of conflict over territory near an unstable star cluster. The simulation was designed to mimic real-life consequences, including resource loss and environmental collapse. Elias gathered his team. This isn't a game, he said. We are being tested on strategy, patience, and collaboration. Humans excel when faced with challenges. Now we must prove that courage can coexist with wisdom. Patel smirked. And we thought we were done with danger. Jonah Reed, now a bit more confident after the Null Drift incident, spoke up. We need to understand both sides, listen, not just react. Yes, Dr. Chen added. Observation first, emotion second, strategy last. The team nodded. The simulation began. Holographic projections filled the chamber. The Zorath and Kellian leaders appeared, each demanding immediate control over the disputed sector. Tensions ran high. Navigator Hale stepped forward. We need to separate them physically, allow space to talk. The Velari looked skeptical. Space does not solve intent, one said. Elias intervened. Sometimes humans need a pause to think. Too much pressure leads to mistakes. The humans guided the holographic leaders into separate zones. Then they presented neutral data, resources, star stability, and historical agreements. The Velari observed carefully. The humans did not dominate the discussion. They facilitated understanding. Jonah leaned over to Dr. Chen. It's different from fighting a storm, isn't it? Yes, she whispered. Here, patience is more valuable than speed. Hours passed. Arguments flared in the simulation. The Zorath threatened withdrawal. The Kellian demanded immediate control. Elias reminded the team, remember the goal is trust, not victory. Security Officer Ramos added, so we win by letting them win themselves. Exactly, Elias said. We guide, not push. The team worked tirelessly, presenting choices, pointing out consequences, and keeping both parties engaged. Finally, the holographic leaders nodded. They agreed to a shared management of the sector with oversight from a neutral council. The Velari Council, observing in silence, let their projections shift through colors slowly. This is unusual, one council member said. Humans act with both boldness and patience. Few species combine these traits effectively. After the trial, the human team returned to their quarters, exhausted but relieved. Jonah Reed spoke up. We didn't fight anything physical today, yet it was more stressful than Null Drift. Patel laughed softly. Diplomacy is dangerous too. One mistake and relationships collapse. Elias joined them. This is the real test. Courage is easy when danger is obvious. Wisdom is harder when consequences are invisible. Dr. Chen nodded. And humans demonstrate both. Lyra appeared, her skin calm blue with hints of gold. Your species surprises us, she said. Not because of strength, but because of choice. You are willing to risk, to speak, and to think together. That is rare. Jonah smiled, a bit tired. I think we're starting to understand each other. Lyra's eyes brightened. And you are learning from us. That is equally rare. Meanwhile, tensions stirred outside the chamber. Some Velari factions questioned whether humans were too unpredictable. The Null Drift had shown both brilliance and danger. Their council debated quietly. One faction warned, human solutions succeed only because they take risks others would never consider. That same courage could destroy planets. Another countered, but humans are adaptable. They learn from errors and innovate faster than any species we have met. The decision was made. Humans would be given more responsibility, but under supervision. The next mission loomed. A remote Velari colony, far from Horizon Field, faced a resource crisis. Its energy core was failing, threatening the inhabitants' survival. Elias and his team were assigned to assist. Jonah looked at the team. Ready for another challenge? Patel grinned. We survive storms, now we survive scarcity. Lyra joined them. We face this together. Your courage and our stability will see this through. As the Odyssey Dawn prepared to depart, Elias reflected. Humanity had always thrived by facing the unknown. Here, with Velari as allies, the challenge was greater, but so was the potential. The stars stretched before them, endless and bright, as if daring the humans to rise once again. And they would, because humans did not stop at survival. They adapted, learned, and chose to act, even when the universe seemed uncertain. The Odyssey Dawn glided silently through the void toward the distant Velari colony. The stars ahead shimmered like silver sparks in endless night. For humans, space had always been a test. For the Velari, it was home, and sometimes a warning. Commander Elias Grant stood on the bridge, hands clasped behind him, watching the crew prepare. The human and Velari teams worked in harmony, repairing systems, calibrating sensors, and checking life support fields. Everything is ready, Engineer Patel reported, voice calm but firm. Only the unknown remains. Good, Elias replied. That's where humans shine. Dr. Myra Chen, standing near the observation window, added, Unknown tests both adaptability and judgment. And humans excel at both, Elias nodded. Then let's hope this colony is ready for our version of help. When they arrived, the colony appeared calm from a distance, but closer inspection revealed danger. The energy core's instability caused flickering lights, minor tremors, and uneven gravity in parts of the station. Lyra Vash stepped forward. The colony has maintained order despite hardship, she observed. Your species would find such discipline admirable. Elias smiled faintly. Humans can adapt. Discipline is learned in chaos. The ground-level docking bays opened. Velari and human teams disembarked together. The air smelled faintly of ionized metal, mixed with the warmth of human curiosity and Velari calm. The energy core room was immense, filled with circuits, glowing conduits, and intricate Velari control panels. The core's power readings fluctuated dangerously. One miscalculation could trigger a collapse, potentially wiping out the colony. Jonah Reed approached a control panel, eyes wide but determined. We can stabilize this, but it's delicate. Too much or too little and it fails. Patel added, we'll need to work together. Humans adjust quickly. Velari provides stability. Let's combine both. Lyra joined them, her skin a steady gold. And I will guide both, your speed, our precision. Together we succeed. Elias surveyed the room. Then let's begin. The process was slow. Every adjustment required calculation, cooperation, and intuition. The core shivered under their touch. Sparks flickered. A section of the floor tilted slightly as gravity sensors fluctuated. Jonah froze. The conduit is misaligned. Before he could react further, Ramos and a Velari engineer stabilized the panel. The conduit hummed again. Focus, Lyra instructed. Balance energy, not just power. The humans realized she meant more than mechanics. Emotion, reaction, teamwork, these all affected the outcome. Hours passed. Sweat dripped from human brows and the Velari skin shifted with intense concentration. But no one gave up. Every minor correction strengthened their bond and their collective understanding. Suddenly, a warning blared. A secondary energy channel threatened to overload. The system indicated catastrophic failure in moments. Divert power, Elias shouted. Jonah, Patel, split the load. Jonah's hands shook as he rerouted energy. Patel monitored pressure fluctuations. Lyra coordinated with Velari systems to prevent collapse. Time slowed, every second stretched painfully. Then a spark, a hum, the core stabilized just barely. The room fell silent. No alarms, no flickers. The humans and Velari exchanged looks. Relief washed over them like a wave. The colony was safe. The Velari Council, observing remotely, projected themselves into the station. Their lights shimmered, a mix of silver, gold, and soft green. You have succeeded, one council member said. Where others would retreat, you faced danger directly. Where others might have failed, you adapted. Elias stepped forward. We didn't act alone. Humans adapt quickly, but only when guided and informed, and the Velari taught us discipline and patience. Another council member added, this combination is unprecedented. Humans, your species, courage and ability to act decisively while learning in the moment has proven invaluable. Lyra's skin glimmered gold. I have witnessed them firsthand. They fall, they recover, and they rise stronger. Elias felt a warmth in his chest. Humanity had always faced impossible odds and survived, but to have another species witness and appreciate that, it was something new. Later, the colony held a quiet celebration. Not loud music or fireworks, humans were tired and the Velari preferred subtle recognition, but enough warmth to share relief and accomplishment. Jonah Reed looked around at his fellow humans and Velari. "We really did it," he said softly. "Yes," Lyra replied. "Together we turned fear into action. You did not stop at survival." Elias placed a hand on Jonah's shoulder. "And that's humanity's way. We face the unknown and we rise," Patel added, sometimes recklessly, but always learning. Lyra laughed softly, her skin flickering silver and blue. "Your recklessness is tempered by choice, and that makes it powerful." The next morning, the humans prepared to return to Horizon Field. The Velari colony expressed gratitude that words alone could not contain. As the ships lifted, Elias watched the stars stretching before them. "Commander," Dr. Chen said, "humans have shown something remarkable, not strength alone, not speed, not technology, but courage, adaptability, and choice." Elias nodded. "That's who we are. That's why we explore, why we act, why we survive." Lyra appeared beside him. "And your species reminds us of something important as well." "Which is?" Elias asked. "To embrace imperfection, to act despite fear, to rise together." Elias smiled. "Then we've both learned something." During the voyage home, the null drift became a distant memory, but its lessons remained. The Velari Council, once cautious of human unpredictability, began to see a new truth. Humans were not only capable of surviving chaos, they were capable of guiding others through it, of creating solutions where none seemed possible. Elias reflected on the journey. From first contact to cultural misunderstanding to facing cosmic threats, humans had proven themselves again and again. And not through perfection, through persistence, through ingenuity, through courage. Back aboard the Odyssey Dawn, the crew gathered on the observation deck. The stars stretched infinitely. The darkness of space reminded them that danger was always near, yet beauty existed as well. Jonah leaned against the rail. "Do you think the Velari really understand us now?" Lyra, standing beside him, glimmered soft green and gold. "They do. They have witnessed choice, courage, and adaptation. They have witnessed what humans are at their best." Patel grinned. "That means they might actually trust us next time." Elias looked out at the void. "And next time humans will rise again, we always do." The crew laughed quietly, quietly proud, quietly human. Somewhere deep in the galaxy, the Velari were learning from them too. Together, species that once feared misunderstanding now shared something far greater: trust, respect, and the knowledge that even in the darkest space, humanity would rise. And that was the essence of HFY, humanity, not perfect, not invincible, but capable of rising in ways no other species could imagine. The universe was vast, full of danger and wonder, and humans were ready for whatever came next.